So now we are moving on to multiplication of fractions. And as we say, try to make it a common practice automatically. Go to YouTube and do some quick YouTube search. Multiplication of fractions. Multiplication and division of fractions. So I just want multiplication alone. Division, we'll do division after. So just multiplication we need. Math antics, very common. Let's check it out. Multiplication of fractions. And you just simply copy and you paste it, you look at it. Okay, there are many videos on multiplying fractions. Make your eyes ball your peas. Okay, this one is from class session number 1. Let's just grab another one, just for sport. There's one there with some mixed numbers. We'll deal with them after. We're doing simple fractions for now. So we are moving on now to example 4. Let's go in order. And example 4 says 8 times 2 over 5. 8 times 2 upon 5. So when you multiply a fraction by a whole number or subtraction of whole numbers and fractions, try to make the whole number look like a fraction by putting a 1 under it. So 8 is the same as 8 over 1. So make the whole number look like a fraction. Okay, so we have 8 over 1 times 2 over 5. Okay. Now, when we are multiplying back fractions, the rule of thumb here it is to multiply two fractions, multiply numerator to numerator and denominator to denominator. In fact, multiplication of fractions is even easier than subtraction and addition. The denominator don't have to be common. The denominator do not have to be common. You just multiply numerator to numerator. Here we go. Numerator times numerator over denominator times denominator. So here we have it, 8 times 2, here it is, 8 times 2, numerator to numerator, 1 times 5, 1 times 5, denominator to denominator. 8 times 2 will give us 16, 1 times 5 will give us 5. Now we are confronted with what you call an improper fraction because the numerator is bigger than the denominator. A fraction is proper when the numerator is smaller than the denominator. Because remember, a fraction expresses parts from a total. So you cannot have a total smaller than the part taken from it. You cannot have a bag of 5 mangoes, and from that bag, you're going to extract 10 mangoes. So that's why they call it an improper fraction, because then you cannot take out from more than what you have. Okay, because the denominator is all what you've got. Okay, and the numerator now is what you take in from all what you've got. So you cannot take out 16 from 5. You cannot have 5 bread and take out 16 bread from 5 bread. Okay, so that's why they call these fractions improper. But it's a fraction anyway. It has a numerator and a denominator. So when you have improper fractions, you divide, because another thing again about fractions also express division. So the denominator divides into the numerator. So therefore now, to convert this improper fraction to what you call a mixed number, you divide 5 into 16 with 3 times. So you have a whole number, and 5 times 3 will give us 15. 16 minus 15 is 1. So you have a remainder of 1 over 3. So you have a whole number plus a proper fraction. Oh, and by the way, when you are converting improper fraction to mixed number, between the whole number and the 1/3, there is a sign. Can somebody please read this improper fraction? Now it is important to note how you are reading this improper fraction. We normally say 3 and a third. 3 and a third. Let's put it there. 3 and a third. We know this is one of the symbols for and. If you want, you can write 3 and write the word and. A-N-D. Three and the third. But we know this symbol also represents and. Actually, this is the Latin symbol for and, you know. For plus, sorry. This is the Latin symbol for plus, and we're using it for and. And that is where our plus sign came from, you know, from this symbol there. If you look at it closely, you see a little T inside there. That is where our plus sign originated from, you know. So actually, this is actually 3 plus a third. It is very important to take note of that. And in fractions and in algebra, it's plus. So whenever you are doing algebra, we come into algebra later down. And whenever you're doing arithmetic, we're doing arithmetic now, which is fractions. And you mentioned the word and. Do not take the word and for granted. And it's plus. So when you say in 3 and a third, you actually say in 3 plus a third. Now, if we have to add 3 and a third, you know we're going to get back 16 over 5. Because this is going to be 3 over 1. Okay? And now we have to get a common denominator. So we have to multiply by 3. Okay? We're going to get 16 over 5. If we have to add 3 and a third. Okay? If you want, we can even do it. Okay? So that will be 3 over 1 plus 1 over 3. Now we have to multiply this now by 3 over 3. But I spot an error there. Can somebody please tell me the error? So trying to explain this, which is all said and good, I just noticed an error. This is not supposed to be 1/3. It's 5 into 16 goes 3 times and 1 over 5. This is supposed to be 5, not 3. 1 over 5. That denominator is supposed to coincide with that denominator. So that's 3 and 1/5, not 3 and 1/3. So that's supposed to be 3 and 1/5. That's supposed to be 3 and 1/5. The italics and, you know, the italics and that's where our plus sign come out. 3 plus 1/5. Now, if you add 3 over 1 plus 1/5, you're going to get back the 16 over 5, you know, because you're going to multiply 3 over 1 by 5 over 5. Okay. We are going to keep our 1 over 5. We're going to get 15 over 5 plus 1 over 5, and 15 over 5 plus 1 over 5 is 15 plus 1 over 5, and we could get back our 16 over 5. So it is important to note that from there to there, from the 8 times 2 over 5 to the 16 over 5, this is your working. That's it. Okay, this is the working. From there now, no, this is not really from the working. Because it is wise to convert your improper fraction to a mixed number. So from 8 times 2 over 5 to 3 1/5, this is your working. Okay, so that's it. If you have to answer the question in a CXC question, that is it. You don't need to go further. From there now, I was explaining now that the 3 1/5, a whole number under a proper fraction, there's an invisible plus sign between them. So that's what I was explaining, the origin of the plus sign, because we actually say it, and therefore now there is an invisible plus sign. So always be aware of that. Okay, and from there now I was proving now the 3 plus the 1/5, you can get back the 16 over 5. So from there to there, that's just explain to you there's an invisible plus between the whole number and the proper fraction, and that's just proof that you can get back your improper fraction. And actually, when you convert in a mixed number to an improper fraction, it's add you add in, you know. To convert an improper fraction to a mixed number, you divide and you subtract. You are subtracting. You divide and subtract. Because you see 3 into 6, 16 goes 3 times, and then you see 16 minus 15 will give us 1. Now, when you convert in an improper, a mixed number to an improper fraction, you multiply and add. You do the reverse. Look at there, you multiply and you add. Okay, and you're getting back your improper fraction. So all in all, if you are to multiply this, you have to do this, the 3 1/5, that's it. And from there now, I'm just explaining to you there's an invisible plus between the whole number and the proper fraction. Please take note of that and how to convert a mixed number to an improper fraction. Let's do another example of multiplication of fractions. 7 over 8 times 3 over 4. As we say, without no further ado, you just multiply numerator with 7 times numerator, which is 3. Okay. Over denominator, which is 8, times denominator, which is 4. Numerator times numerator over denominator times denominator. 7 3s will give us 21 over 8 4s will give us 32. And this cannot be reduced, can it? No. So it will say as 21 over 32. Multiplication of fractions is very simple.